expect a strong 18th package of EU sanctions and full coordination of these sanctions across key global jurisdictions. We also discussed defence funding today, and it's very important that support remains predictable. There is also clear progress in joint weapons production, and this is not only about the very good Danish model of investing in Ukraine. We are also preparing agreements for joint production in Denmark. Of course, we expect Ukraine to be a full partner in European programs like SAFE, and we must continue directing the profits from frozen Russian assets to support our defense, including by investing those funds in Ukraine's defense industry. The second priority is EU enlargement. In today's global competition, being part of the EU helps every such nation succeed. Ukraine has already done everything required to start accession talks, including being ready to open the first cluster, fundamentals, and we will be ready for the other clusters later this year. It's time to open the clusters, and the third goal is coordination. Now, when there are doubts about continued US support for Europe, it's even more important to strengthen our cooperation and coordination through the EU, NATO, and also in our direct relations, both with each other in Europe and with the United States. Thank you to everyone who's helping with finding common solutions. Mette, I wish you success, and thank you so much. Again, thank you and all of Denmark for everything. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, and then I would like to pass the floor to the President of the European Council, Antonio.
Thank you, Mette, dear Volodymyr, dear Ursula. It's a pleasure to be here in Aarhus to launch the Danish presidency of the Council. And let me start for wish to you, Mette, all the best for this presidency. Denmark has shown unwavering support to Ukraine from day one. And you personally have set an example for a strong leadership in Europe and to the world. And as you rightly said, Ukraine's fight for freedom is also our fight for freedom. First, Russian invasion of Ukraine remains a major threat to global peace in the world, because this invasion is undermining the international rules-based order, because Russia is an intercontinental country threatening not only Europe but also the Pacific region, and because Russia is acting in a coalition with countries like North Korea or Iran. Second, a just and lasting peace is urgent to global security. I'm deeply disappointed that Russia is not engaging with the efforts of President Trump to achieve a just and lasting peace. While President Zelensky has already agreed on an unconditional ceasefire, Russia not only hasn't agreed, but even increasing the intensity of their aggression to Ukraine. From our part, we will continue to give full support to Ukraine. Member States have committed an additional 24 billion military support since the beginning of this year, and now the European Commission offered to all Member States more fiscal space to increase their support, and this support counts for the new NATO targets. And we will continue, on the other hand, to put pressure on Russia through sanctions. Last week, we prolonged all our sanctions for another 6 months, and the 18th package of sanctions is underway. Finally, we are looking forward to our common future with Ukraine as a full member of the European Union. And I'm very happy with the recent assessment of the European Commission about your impressive work to deliver on reforms in such difficult situations, and for sure we have reached the conditions to move forward the ongoing negotiation process to the accession to the European Union.
Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. And now President of the European Commission, Ursula.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mette, and a very warm welcome also to you, Volodymyr, and to you, Antonio. Mette, I want to thank you for your constant support to Ukraine, and I'm sure that under your leadership, this support will continue. I also want to mention, first of all, the sanctions. As you know, last week we agreed to renew our sanctions. And as a first achievement of your presidency, Mette, you can bring the 18th package to the finish line. I'm confident that this will be possible. We all know that Putin does not want peace, so we need to put pressure on him to come to the negotiation table. 18 sanctions packages are biting at the heart of Russia's war economy. It was an eye-opener to hear the Russian Minister of Economic Development saying Russia is on the brink of recession. The interest rate is at 20%, inflation is at 10%. Russia's overheated war economy is coming to its limits. So for us, it is important to increase the pressure so that he comes to the negotiation table. My second point is on defense. We will deliver 2 million shells to Ukraine by the end of the year. We also invested 2.1 billion euros to strengthen Ukraine's defense right now. And important is the origin of this money. We're doing this by using the windfall profits from immobilized Russian assets. So in practice, Russia is paying for the weapons Ukraine is using. But Ukraine needs more. And for that, we have SAFE. SAFE for joint procurement. This money can be taken by member states and be invested in the Ukrainian defense industry. It will strengthen the defense industry. The products are better, more intelligent, cheaper, and come faster. So it's to our benefit too. And it will increase the income not only of the defense industry, but of course then of the government of Ukraine too. I think important is also that there is still spare capacity in the Ukrainian defense industry, so it's worth to invest in it. Important is member states can join SAFE, Ukraine can also join SAFE. Finally, a bilateral issue on trade flows for agricultural products. The good news is that we have found an agreement with Ukraine. It will provide long-term and predictable trade relationship on agricultural products. And in addition, we are giving long-term economic certainty through the Ukraine facility and the G7 loan. We want to gradually bring Ukraine into our single market. A good example is that we are ending roaming charges as of next year, also to bring our people closer together. We are working hard on your accession process. We're preparing for your future as a free and modern country inside the European Union.
And we'll leave the questions. Let's start with Inter TV.
Hello, Inter TV channel, Ukraine. My name is Nina Kolomiyets. The first part of my questions is to President Volodymyr Zelensky. Mr. President, the US State Department has confirmed suspension of certain categories of weapon supplies to Ukraine. What details have been clarified? Which types of weaponry are currently on hold? What are the reasons behind this pause? And how do you assess the outlook for continuing as military assistance to Ukraine? And the second part of my question is to European leaders and our partners. In light of this pause in US arms deliveries, is Europe prepared to partially or fully fill the gap? Which countries are ready to respond in what quantities, and over what time frame can this support be mobilized? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. So, first of all, of course, we count on continuation of American support, but there are some items which Europe, it's a pity, but which Europe doesn't have for today, especially when we speak about PAC-3. I mean that missiles for Patriot systems. This is crucial, yes, and also when we speak about systems. But we count also on our Ukrainian production. We need more financing, more funds for this. We spoke about it today also, and we have, God bless, we have really good relations, and we count on EU, on Denmark, and on our relationships. And we have really some very important programs, which mentioned Madam President already, and I think it will be very helpful. What about our bilateral relations with the United States and this support? So I hope that maybe tomorrow or in close days, these days, I will speak about it with the President Trump.
If I can add some few words, I think what is necessary to say to all good partners is that the war in Ukraine has never only been about Ukraine, it's about Europe. And therefore, if we are to protect Ukraine and Europe and the transatlantic alliance, we have to ensure that Ukraine gets the help that you need. So, of course, all of us hope that US will continue their support for Ukraine and, because of Ukraine, for Europe. But if there are any gaps, then I personally believe that we should be willing to fill in. And I was almost saying I'm happy, but that's not the right word to use because there's a war going on in Europe. But I'm quite proud of the cooperation we have when it comes to supporting production directly in Ukraine. It's working because of you and your companies. But I would like to put this message on the table also to the rest of the European leaders that you have more capacity than we have financing. So you will be able to produce more also on very critical capabilities in Ukraine if we are able to find more financing. So I think that could be the next step for Europe.
Can I compliment?
Yes, of course.
I think it's very important to spread the message to our member states that now financial possibilities are there to support directly Ukraine. On one hand, there is a national escape clause. So this gives national fiscal flexibility to invest in defense capabilities, which can go also to Ukraine. Then there is the safe joint procurement. And here, very important, they can directly invest in the Ukrainian defense industry. And as you said, defense industry has still capacities. Important is this pays into the NATO target. So it's a triple win for the member states if they do these investments for their own security, for Ukraine's security, and for their NATO target.
Please.
Just to add that since the beginning of this year, the member states have already supported on military capabilities with 24 billion euros. Now they can do more. But stress that this is not only about Ukraine and about Europe. This is, in fact, about international law. Because Russia aggression on Ukraine is violating the international law. Sovereignty, territorial integrity, international recognized borders, and this is a threat for the global security. And it's the reason because the support Ukraine needs to engage all of the countries who are supporting international law.
That's up, please.
News agency Ritzau. Yeah. Mr. Zelensky, we see specific countries blocking the Ukrainian way into the European Union. How crucial is it for Ukraine to get any progress on becoming a member state of the European Union during the next 6 months where Denmark holds the presidency? And Mette Frederiksen, how do you plan as presidency to get around these specific countries blocking for Ukrainian acceptance?
Thank you so much. From our side, we do our best during the war, really. And I want to thank all our people, government, parliamentarians, and society which support all these laws, reforms, what we needed very much to open clusters. Yes, and during the war it's very difficult, really tough situation, you understand, because of security. Even sometimes, we spoke about it, sometimes it's just difficult to be together in one building, all the government and parliamentarians, because of the attacks. I mean, and they have to provide reforms anyway. And we are on this way. We stood on this way, and we want to go further forward to be a member of EU. That's why we need support. And I think nobody can stop Ukraine in this way, any one country. And of course, it depends on unity in EU, such decisions. So from our side, we will do everything. And we need support from all other leaders in EU. You know, such countries which are, it's a sensitive question, I think, but in any way, at the end of the day, in any way, we will manage it.
Can I just ask you?
Oh, sorry, no. Anas, please. Please. Anas, please. Prime Minister, please.
One question. I was just going to put an answer to Ritzau. First of all, for us it's very clear that Ukraine belongs to not only the European family when it comes to the European Union, but also the transatlantic alliance when it comes to NATO. But for now, enlargement of the European Union is crucial. Volodymyr has already spoken about how important it is for Ukraine. And I would like to add for the rest of Europe as well, because it will bring stability to the European continent, having Ukraine as a member. The concrete steps, I can't share that with you yet. Of course, we are thinking about what is the best way forward. It's my feeling that the vast majority of the member states are in favor of a Ukrainian membership of the European Union, because Europeans know that a secure Ukraine means a more secure Europe. But the concrete steps, it's a bit too early to say anything about them. Sorry.
And we'll do La Vanguardia, please.
Hi, it's Anna Buch from La Vanguardia. To President Costa, after in the European Council, the 27 member states agreed to boost defense spending. They agreed also in NATO, but my question is, will they still be able to do it at the same time on filling the gap if the pause from the US delivery is permanent? And to President Zelensky, what do you expect of the call between President Trump and President Putin? Thank you.
What we decided in the European Council is to add efficiency and to ensure that the member states could spend better by standardization, by interoperability, by demand aggregation, by joint procurement, by common projects. And this is a great contribution to help all member states to deliver on this. The Commission have presented a package with the escape clause, more the safe, to create more fiscal room. And, very, very important, each euro spent by the member states supporting Ukraine could be account to the 3.5% or the 5% on NATO. Then we are not creating a difficulty, but is €1 could be used at the same time to Ukraine, to European defense and your own defense.
Thank you. We will answer.
About that dialogue between phone call between Trump and Putin. I don't know. I'm not sure that they have a lot of common ideas, common topics to talk, because they are very different people. But if we speak about Ukraine, we supported from the very beginning the idea of President Trump, unconditional ceasefire. I said it not once that we are ready for any kind of format of meeting. And I think that in Russia only Putin real decision makers. That's why we need meeting on the level of leaders if we really want peace.
And answer, please.
Ляйен and Costa. For their point of view, the veto of one member state on Ukraine's accession can be still overcome, and how? And is there a plan B on it?
You want to start? Yeah. Well, so first of all, it is very important to acknowledge that Ukraine is doing complicated, hard, and complex reforms while fighting a war for their survival. This is impressive to see how fast they're moving forward. And I want to be very clear. We have agreed in our accession process that the accession process is merits-based. It's not a political process where you can take shortcuts or leapfrog forward. It's a merits-based process. The Commission has affirmed that Ukraine deserves all the merits to move on to open the first cluster. So, therefore, this is now intense talks going on, that we stick to our own principles. That is a merits-based process.
First of all member states, by unanimity, decided to open these negotiations on 2022 and approve this process. Then the negotiation is an ongoing process. Is a negotiation who takes time, and we cannot waste time. Then we don't need to stop. Nobody needs to be blocked. We can continue working. Until now, in this such difficult situation, the truth is Ukraine is delivering, making the reforms, and the assessment from the European Commission is very clear. Ukraine is doing very well, and we should continue the negotiations. Then I invite the Commission, I invite Ukraine to continue your work. You cannot waste time, because we need to conclude this, and when it comes the moment to take a decision, we have already done what we need to do to obtain the approval. And as you know, one member state believed that the session could be only when we achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. And of course, all of us are fighting and supporting Ukraine to achieve a just and lasting peace as soon as possible. And in the meantime, we need to do what in any case we need to do, is to negotiate, to deliver the reforms, to evaluate the reforms, to have and this is what we are doing. That we don't need to stop. We don't need to say that we are blocked. No, we are working, and the working is going on.
I think, Antonio, if I may say, invitation accepted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. That will conclude the press conference. Thank you.
Can I ask you one question? Everybody wants peace in Ukraine. How can the Danish presidency help you in this?
To strengthen us, as you did before. Thank you. Thank them.
parliament,